Well, hello to all my fellow veterans out there and your family. Hope everybody's doing good. Well, here we are, live podcasting and come across the snag. Our guest just didn't show up. But oh well, hey, screw it. We're gonna get through it. We'll talk about several subjects. And let's go ahead and let's get this started, shall we? All right. Hey, today we were supposed to have Macaela Bensko from Veterans in Pain on today. And we were going to talk about the services that organization provides to veterans, which, if you are in a pain management program or in constant pain and nothing seems to work, this organization offers several different alternative programs to help with your pain management. It's an extremely good organization. I highly recommend it. So if you are in a lot of body pain, a lot of pain, check them out at veteransinpain.org. See what they could possibly do for you. But I know a lot of you have noticed or know that I've been advocating. Well, I advocated for the PACT Act, and I've been doing roundtables throughout the state. I just did one just the other day with my Congresswoman Amelia Sykes in the Ohio 13th District, and it went very well. I was expecting it to be like other roundtables that I participated on, that people on the panel itself discussed the PACT Act, but she asked us questions, we answered them, then the crowd was able to the audience was able to ask questions. We answered them. Then afterwards, we had a meet and greet, and everything went fantastic. A lot of information was put out. A lot of veterans said spouses, widows were there, which I was highly excited to learn. They were the ones asking most of the questions for the widows, and I am glad they did. And not only was I there, but there were several other organizations, especially the Veterans Benefits Administration, which is part of the VA, but they handled the benefit side of it. And they had a table set up with several people at it, and they had their computers, their laptops, and they were able to help these widows file their claims under the PACT Act right there on the spot. So if you're unaware, the PACT Act supplies family members with survivor benefits. All right. So these widows are going to be able to get some sort of benefit, some sort of compensation for what their spouses did during the war. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but the first anniversary of passing of the PACT Act is coming up here on the 10th of this month. So if you have not filed your claims yet, or your intent to file, you have until the 9th of August, the 9th of this month, to get at least your intent to file in. So your claim will be backdated all the way to August 10th of 2022. I mean, you can file your claims and your intent to claim after the 9th, but those will not be backdated a year. So I highly recommend you get those in. And here's the thing about filing or submitting your intent to file. that gives you 1 year from the date that you file that or submit that to file your actual claim. So that gives you plenty of time to get all your information ready, all your medical records. Yes, they're going to need your medical records. You do have to prove that you have this illness. One of the illnesses, at least one of them, that's on the presumptive list. And once you show proof of that, then you can guarantee that you're going to get some sort of benefit from the VA. You'll get your your health care, of course, and then your chances are you're going to get compensation, depending. And yes, they will have you come in and do a CMP exam. That's to determine the percentage of compensation that you're going to get. And also, I want to let my viewers know that all of you out there that yes, the chat is open. So if there is a subject that you want to cover, put it in the chat. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. We'll get it on the air for you. And but yes, highly important. If you are ready to file your claim, file it before no later than the 9th, or get that intent to file submitted no later than the 9th, so you can have your PACT Act claim backdated to August 10th of 2022. Now, since a lot of you know that I've been advocating for toxic injured, yes, it's no longer toxic illnesses, it's toxic injuries. Let's put it that way. We were injured due to being exposed to toxins, be it cancer, be it pulmonary diseases, be it we're injured, flat out injured. Today, I was part of a Zoom meeting with the House side, their Veterans Affairs Committee. And with me, we had Mandy Fight, who is an active duty major in the Army, who was stationed at Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. And her family and herself are injured due to the Red Hill fuel leak. Also joining us was Frank Vera, who was stationed at George Air Force Base in the 70s. Frank is extremely ill due to being exposed to radiation while stationed at George Air Force Base. And yes, I was stationed at George Air Force Base too for almost, a little over 7 years. Matter of fact, that was my very last base where I separated from. We also had Dave Crete, an Air Force veteran who was stationed at Nevada Testing and Training Range in Nevada, where, if you're unfamiliar with that name, basically Area 52, Nevada testing site, Tonopah testing range. This is where they tested all the nukes back before we dropped them during World War II. Almost all of those people who were stationed out there and civilians that worked there are sick due to radiation poisoning. Now, George Air Force Base cannot get any compensation from the VA because the DOD says there's no contamination at the base, but there's documentation. There's a lot of documentation too for Red Hill. Matter of fact, it's all over the news, but yet they still can't get any specialized treatment or specialized health care. It's pretty much like the Navy trying to sweep it under the rug. And then the problem with the Air Force veterans from Nevada Testing and Training Range is that they are called what's data masked. The DOD is saying that, hey, the base was never there. So these individuals could never have been there. So that means they were never contaminated at these bases. So they can't get any health care through the VA. They did their jobs. They got their honorable discharges. Now they're sick. And now the people that asked them to serve our country are turning their backs on them on all of these areas. And it's not just George Air Force Base, Nevada Testing Range, or Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam. You got Edwards Air Force Base. You've got Eglin Air Force Base. You've got several. Let me put it to you like this. There's, I believe, 140 military installations that are on what the EPA calls their Superfund site, which means they are highly contaminated. Most of these bases are still operational. They're still running, still putting new recruits on these bases. So all these people are getting sick. They're being toxic injured, and they're not getting any help at all. So if you could, folks, call your senators. You got 2 of them in every state. Call your congressman. You have one for yourself in the area you live in. Call them up. Say, hey, what are you doing to help these veterans and their families out? What are you doing to help the active duty military people that are still stationed at these bases where they're getting sick? Every single American should be concerned about this. Now, there's this other subject that I've been working on. I'm going to kind of keep that secret now, but coming this September, it's National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. I push this all the time. And I do this in memory of my brother Dennis, who was a Vietnam and Gulf War veteran who decided to take his own life 22 years ago. 988 is the new number. No more 1-800 or 1-888. It's 988. That's all you got to dial. Then you press 1. You're guaranteed to get a certified, licensed therapist on the line with you. Also, the VA now has what they call vet centers popping up all over the country. And these vet centers are manned by licensed therapists. A veteran can go in there and talk to anybody anytime. You do not need an appointment as long as it's during their business hours. You can go as often as you want. There is no fees involved or anything like that. I don't even think you need to be in the VA system in order to use the vet center. Here's one of the things I like about these vet centers, though. Your spouse or your kids, if they feel that due to a military incident, a military issue, that they need some counseling, they can walk into a vet center and they can talk to a licensed therapist as well. Now, one of the things that I I just recently, and a few episodes ago, I mentioned it, that I had just received the 2023 VA's suicide report. A lot of information in it. But one of the things that kind of pissed me off was the statistics that they're using in the 2023 report from all 50 states and U.S. territories is from 2020. Statistics from 3 years ago. And that seems to be the trend. Plus, I'm finding out that some states have stopped reporting veteran suicide altogether. Supposedly Ohio's one of them. I'm trying to get that confirmed. That's just downright ludicrous. That pisses me off. Why are you stopping reporting veteran suicide when you know it's a pandemic, when you know it's an extremely critical issue? Why are you states stopping reporting veteran suicide for? But in this report, it breaks it down some to where within the first 2 years of separation is when most veteran suicide occurs. After that, most veteran suicides occur at a VA facility. Yep. Wonder why. I mean, the VA has made some strides in improvements, but you know, I'll admit, us veterans, once we get out, we're kicked to the curb. VA, you know, they're. Let's put it to you like this: the VA is just like a regular hospital. When you first get into the VA system and you don't have a service connection injury, then you have to pay out of your own pocket or have private insurance. And you have to deal with all that. The only thing I think the VA does at that point is if you need surgery or a special treatment, they're not going to get approval from the insurance company prior to you getting that surgery or whatever. They're going to give it to you. And then they'll deal with the insurance company. But I know with all the times I've been hospitalized at Lewis Stokes in Cleveland, Ohio, hey, the food there's good. I don't know about the other ones, but the food's good at Cleveland. I mean, you don't get to pick what you want, but when you do get it, it's good. I mean, I've had nothing but good care from the Cleveland Clinic, Cleveland VA Hospital, and the Akron Clinic, where my primary care doctor's at. I used to live in Akron, that's why I still go there. Unfortunately, my primary care doctor has now been transferred over to cardiology, so we'll see how this new one goes. If not, then I'll just move everything up to Cleveland. But, you know, guys, you see my email underneath me. If you're not watching this live, email me about any subject you want me to talk about. Any veteran issue, any veteran organization, any veteran nonprofit, anything. Email me and we'll get an episode based off your suggestions. Now, for those who are listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, those platforms, and you only get the audio, the email is Tim_Hauser, HAUSER, at veteransinsurance.org. It'll be, I usually put it in the description of each episode. So just look at the description. Chances are the email's under there. Now, One subject that I've been following, and I'm seeing if there's any updates here on this. As we all know, 23-year-old U.S. Army soldier Travis King willfully and willingly, while laughing, crossed into North Korea. And from what I can gather, that North Korea is going to hold on to this kid. Now, when they find out he probably doesn't have any information helpful to them, what are they going to do with him? Now, I hope they give him back. But you better pay a price. That's all I got to say. How do you all feel about it? Do you think he should be disciplined if he is returned, or should we just kind of let him off the hook? I think they need to throw the book at him, let him go to Leavenworth for quite a long time. I know some family members said he's had some issues since his sister passed away, but I think I'd be trying to get home to console my family members over something like that, not defect to North Korea. Now, I guess he had gotten in some trouble and did some like 50 days or something in a South Korean prison. That doesn't sound like any fun. But, you know, be a man, be responsible. And, well, as you can tell, I was unprepared for my guest not to show up today. Now, one thing I do want to bring up is I co-authored a book with three of my friends, Kimberly Hughes, Kevin Hensley, and Gina Cancelino. Met all three of them while advocating for the PACT Act. Now, here's the reason why we came up with doing this book. We don't talk about the PACT Act much in here, just that we advocated for it. But the thing is the four of us would help each other out while going back and forth to Washington, D.C. Like Kevin would have to drive through where I live in Ohio to get to D.C. So if he happened to be low on funds, he'd stop at my house. I'd take over from there. Or if one of them couldn't afford a hotel room, hey, sleep on the floor in our hotel room. Or hey, you don't have money for food while you're here, we got you covered. Get your asses down here. And now the name of the book, I'll hold this up. The Promise. All right. It's available on Amazon, and it's also available on Barnes and Noble, folks. I'm not sure what the price is these days, but you'll see when you go on those sites. Purchase yourself a copy. It's a good read. And from what I'm hearing, have a box of tissues handy. John Stewart wrote the foreword, and then an awesome lady who I owe a lot to. I wouldn't have this show. I wouldn't be doing a lot of advocating if it wasn't for her. Rosie Torres wrote the intro to the book. Many thanks to those two individuals. And we would not be in, I know for myself, I would not be in this situation that I'm in, doing these round tables, helping other veterans who are toxic injured that's not eligible under the PACT Act get health care, write a book, have this podcast. It's all due to Rosie. And I appreciate you, Rosie. I hope you know that. I'm going to kind of get off the subject of veteran stuff for a little bit because, I've got a wife and a stepson. My stepson and I have a very good relationship. And one of the reason I'm kind of bringing this up is my wife and son were out of town on business. My wife works for a nonprofit, and they had a convention that they went to. And they were gone for a week, so I missed them a lot. Big time. But while they were gone, I happened to find a fantastic fishing lake nearby. So I went, checked it out, filled up my cooler, and I've been trying to teach my son how to fish. He caught his first fish for the first time, his very first fish last year. Yet he hasn't had any luck catching any fish this year. So I think I'm going to take him to that lake before school starts here in a week, I think. Get some good old male bonding day. Go catch some fish. So if you're a veteran and you have kids, I hope you're able to bond with your kids like I do with my stepson. I mean, we're tight. If for one reason or another that bonding isn't working out so great, there's another organization. I don't have a slide for them, but it's called Project Sanctuary. It's retreats. They sponsor retreats for veterans and their families. Help you get that. They help you get that bonding going. So check them out too. I don't have a slide for them. I apologize, but you'll find them. Project Sanctuary. It's another good organization. Now, since I happen to be on the subject of bonding, if you're a veteran and you're having a hard time bonding with anybody, but you want to, there's an organization out there. We just had their Cleveland rep on recently. We're going to have the CEO and founder of the company, the organization, coming on here very soon. Talk about other projects that they do. And the name of this organization is called Irreverent Warriors. What they do is they sponsor hikes all over the country for veterans only. Your family members are not allowed to go. It's just for veterans. And these are all-day events. Now, the reason it's for veterans only is because, Hey, let's admit it. We are the most stubborn group of individuals anybody will ever meet. We do not like to open up at all, except with other veterans. That's veterans only hikes. Get out there, start hiking with other fellow veterans. Hey, start talking to each other. And through these hikes and through these talks, start building that camaraderie back up with somebody. You can open up to a fellow veteran. And the reason I'm bringing them up is because September is National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. What a good way to meet a battle buddy. What a way to earn some trust with somebody. Just go on a hike with them and just talk. Now, from what I understand, these hikes are pretty much all day. I know they have one coming up in Cleveland. They're going to start downtown. If you're familiar with Cleveland, Ohio, this hike's going to start at the Free Stamp at Willard Park, which is right across the street from the Federal Building. During the hike, they will stop at a couple designated locations so you can eat. And I just find it an amazing organization that's doing this. I'm glad they're there. I think it's actually helping curb veteran suicide. So like I said, you can meet a battle buddy. You can meet somebody. You can, hey, if I'm in dire need, can I give you a call? And I'm sure they're going to tell you yes. Let's see. What else is going on around here in the veteran world? Well, really not much, is there? Well, actually, there's a lot. Just don't have any information on it all. So hopefully, veterans in pain will be able to come on at a later time and let them hype up their awesome organization. Now, next week, we're going to have an organization called Fisher House on. I'm not going to tell you much about them because that's what the episode next week's all about. So make sure you tune in. The chat will be open. And ask all the questions, people. Now, like I said earlier, don't forget the 1-year anniversary of the PACT Act is coming up. So if you know you are going to be filing a claim, at least get your intent to file submitted no later than the 9th of August of this year. So your claim can be backdated to August 10th of 2022. You know, that intent to file gives you a year from the day you submit it to get your claim filed. So I highly suggest getting that at least that intent to file submitted so you can get that year and still have it backdated to August 10th of 2022. I'm going to be ending this short today since we didn't have a guest, and I do apologize for that, but hey, that happens. But I like doing these live because it gives you, the audience, a chance to chime in on what's going on. So let me bring this up, and this podcast is now presented by an organization called Veterans Assurance Network. Assurance is a promise. So they promise to help veterans find the benefits and aid that they need and are seeking. If you're unsure on who to turn to, or unsure if anybody offers any aid for that you're looking for, contact Veterans Assurance Network. They will help you locate an organization that can help you. Here's the best thing. They will stay with you. They will help you contact that organization. They will stay with you until you are accepted into their programs. If you are not accepted into their programs, they will help find somebody that will help you out. Now, if you are watching live, and I do apologize that our guest didn't show up. If you have any questions or any topics you would like to talk about, go ahead. Right now is the time. Put it in the chat. I just remembered something. Another thing that Veterans Insurance Network is going to do is for veterans that are on home oxygen and do not have a portable oxygen concentrator, because you get your oxygen through the VA, you're getting nothing but tanks. That restricts your mobility a lot. Now, when I was on home oxygen all the time and all I had was those tanks, my depression was bad because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go anywhere. I wasn't about to haul 20 oxygen tanks all over the place just so I can go somewhere for a day. Thank God I only needed my oxygen periodically throughout the day. I don't need to wear it all the time. But I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. So if you are a veteran that is on home oxygen through the VA and do not have a portable oxygen concentrator, or if you know a veteran who is on home oxygen and does not have a portable oxygen concentrator, contact Veterans Assurance Network and they will help you obtain a portable oxygen concentrator. All right, folks. I'm kind of talked out. I know y'all do not like listening to me rant and talk and all this other stuff. So I'm going to say good night to you all. Hope everybody's doing good. And next week we will have an organization called Fisher House on. This is a good organization too. So please tune in and help support that organization. And hope you all have a very enjoyable evening and see you all next week.